Some battles are fought in silence, not with fists or fury, but in the chaos of a mind that won't sit still. For Emma, that chaos had a name: ADHD. Every day felt like running through fog, chasing thoughts that vanished before they formed. She was 28, smart, creative, and completely exhausted from trying to keep up with a world that never slowed down. Missed deadlines, forgotten appointments, half-finished art. Emma's life was a cycle of almosts and what-ifs. Living in a cluttered apartment filled with scattered dreams and sticky notes, she felt like drowning in her own mind. Her boyfriend Jake was her anchor, steady and loving, but even he couldn't see the storm she fought daily. The guilt of letting people down, of letting herself down, wore her thin. Then one night, after another brutal day at work, she sat in front of a blank canvas, and something clicked. The silence didn't feel empty anymore. It felt like possibility. Maybe she wasn't broken. Maybe her mind just worked differently. And in that moment, brush in hand, Emma decided she was done surviving. It was time to start living on her terms. Over the next few weeks, Emma did everything she could to keep her world from spinning out of control. Mornings felt like battles. She'd wake up overwhelmed, the weight of unfinished projects already dragging her down. But buried underneath all that pressure was something new, a feeling, a quiet pull toward a different way of being. She didn't know what it meant yet, but it felt like a whisper telling her she didn't have to keep fighting the chaos. Maybe she could learn to work with it. She didn't have a plan, just a flicker of hope that things didn't have to stay this way forever. At work, though, that hope was getting tested. Her boss, Karen, was losing patience. Emma had always admired Karen's fairness, her willingness to understand, but even that was wearing thin. Deadlines kept passing, emails piled up, reminders became more frequent and sharper in tone. Emma could feel the change in Karen's energy. Where there was once compassion, now there was disappointment, and that stung more than any angry email could. One particularly tough afternoon, Emma sat at her desk, staring at a blank screen. She was supposed to be designing an ad campaign for a major client, but nothing was coming. Her thoughts jumped from the project to her messy apartment, to the half-finished painting on her kitchen table, to something Jake had said the night before. The blinking cursor taunted her, and the weight of failure built inside her chest until it felt unbearable. Without thinking, she slammed her hands on the desk, causing heads to turn. And then she walked out. No explanation, no apology. At home, Jake was on the couch when she burst through the door. His face lit up, but his smile quickly faded when he saw her expression. Tears welled in her eyes, and she fell apart in front of him. "I can't do this anymore, Jake. I'm not cut out for this life," she choked. "I don't belong anywhere." Jake pulled her into a hug. His voice was calm but firm. "You're being way too hard on yourself. You're creative, Em. You just need to stop trying to force yourself into everyone else's system. Maybe it's time to do things your way." Those words stuck with her. The next morning, Emma woke up early. For once, it wasn't panic that got her out of bed. It was a strange mix of determination and curiosity. She decided to ditch the rigid rules and work in a way that actually made sense to her. She let her ideas come in bursts, scribbled them down wherever they landed, and gave herself permission to be messy. To her surprise, it worked. Her ad campaign started to come alive. Colorful, bold, and uniquely hers. Jake was blown away when she showed him. But just as she started to feel proud, the phone rang. It was Karen. The feedback was harsh, and Emma felt crushed. But instead of falling apart, she stood her ground. She wasn't broken. She was just building something new. And maybe, just maybe, this was the start of something better. The days after Emma decided to go freelance were a blur of excitement and doubt. She had left behind a steady job, a clear career path, and the safety net that came with them. Yet with each new project, her confidence grew. She was slowly becoming the person she had always wanted to be, not bound by routines or rules, but fueled by her own creativity and trust in herself. She found a fragile balance between the chaos of her ADHD and the energy it gave her. Then, just when things seemed to settle, an unexpected message from Karen, her former boss, threw everything into question. "Emma, I need to talk to you. There's something urgent. Can we meet tomorrow?" Emma's heart skipped. She hadn't heard from Karen since losing her job. Why now? Was this an offer, a trap, or just a courtesy? Jake noticed her worry and tried to steady her. Whatever happens, you've come so far. Don't let anyone take that away. The next morning, Emma stood outside a cafe, nervous. Inside, Karen waited. No longer the cold, distant boss, but someone tired and vulnerable. "Emma, thank you for coming," Karen said softly. "I've been thinking a lot about us. Honestly, I've struggled too." Emma blinked, surprised. Karen continued, "I didn't understand your ADHD. I pushed too hard. You weren't the problem, I was. I was stressed and blind." Emma felt old wounds open and soothe at once. Karen then revealed her real reason for calling. She'd been offered a big promotion in another city, but couldn't leave without someone to lead the team here. "I want you to come back, lead your own team. Your way, no pressure, no molds." Emma's heart raced. It was an incredible offer, but also a test. Could she go back to the place she'd fought so hard to escape? She stood slowly, voice steady. "Karen, I appreciate this, but I've come too far to go back. I've learned to trust myself, to trust the chaos that once held me back. I won't let anyone define my path, not even you." Karen nodded, pride and sadness in her eyes. As Emma left, a clear calm settled over her. She had chosen herself, and in that choice, she had already won. The days after Emma made her decision felt like a fresh start. The heavy weight of fear, that constant worry she'd slipped back into living for others' approval, finally lifted. For the first time in years, Emma was walking with clear intention, choosing her own path. As weeks went by, she embraced her new life fully. She took on projects that excited her, pushing her creativity and exploring new ideas. Her ADHD, once a source of frustration, now felt like an advantage, a way to fuel her passion for design. It wasn't always easy, but every day she grew more confident, managing her life on her own terms. Jake was by her side through it all. He admired how she faced her fears and refused to settle for less than she deserved. Though he had always believed in her, watching Emma step into her own strength was something new and inspiring. One evening, Jake asked, "Are you still in touch with Karen?" Emma shook her head. "Not really. We haven't talked since that day at the cafe. She sent a message saying she understood, but it felt like a goodbye. I don't think I'm going back to that world." Emma missed the security Karen represented, but she also knew she couldn't live in that box anymore. Then one quiet afternoon, Emma got a message from Karen. It was unexpected. Karen admitted she'd been scared to let Emma go, but admired what Emma had done. Reading those words, Emma felt a mix of emotions: hurt, understanding, and finally acceptance. Karen had been shaped by her own fears, just as Emma had grown through hers. Emma reflected on her journey, the struggles with ADHD, the constant trying to fit in, the leap into the unknown. She realized her challenges didn't limit her, they shaped her. She had learned to love herself and value her own voice. A year later, Emma stood confidently on a design conference panel, sharing her story with others facing similar struggles. Her courage inspired someone in the audience, and Emma felt proud. The journey wasn't over, but she was on the right path. Emma's story reminds us all: never let others define your worth. Your challenges are your strength. Trust yourself, embrace the journey, and don't be afraid to take that leap. Thanks for watching. If Emma's journey spoke to you, hit subscribe, like, and share. Let's keep supporting each other to grow and shine.